it was more of just like a joke, I think, or something like kind of our little like gang, because the street like drove on that street a lot because it kind of connected all our neighborhoods and places we went.
Matt Porter like got up and talked like he was the mayor of Saddle Creek.
Right, Matt Porter got up as the mayor of Saddle Creek.
So I don't know what the hell we were thinking exactly we were doing, but we probably came off as kind of elitist.
We want to start a gang and just look out for each other and, you know, just do this. And I think that gang mentality kind of, you know, I'm not saying that became Saddle Creek, but that's what I was talking about, and what people later called like the Saddle Creek kids or the Saddle Creek family or the whatever they called it. It's like that's what we were trying to do. The haters, as you will, would call those songs that those prep boys and prep school boys write about girls, and they're just, you know, I mean, and maybe there's some fair criticism of that.
People thought it was all boys club. It was that girls hated Saddle Creek. There was just like, they just thought that it was, I mean, and like Commander Venus made those shirts as a joke after that. It was a football helmet that said "Touchdown for Boy Power" on it.
I don't know. I mean, the touchdown for boy power T-shirts probably didn't do much for that, but we just have better senses of humor than anyone else when it comes down to it.
All the Saddle Creek bands kind of sounded the same. They were like the same band but with different songwriters.
All these bands got clumped into one category, or like got titled because at the time they all sounded the same. Like most of the bands were playing loud music with, you know, quiet verses, loud choruses.
But song-based,
You know,
not
right. And so they were all the same style of music, and so I think it's easier to, at that point, like a Saddle Creek band meant a certain sound of band.
There was one
like Saddle Creek
particular guitar riff that people referred to as
right
Saddle Creek, like
that kind of slow down, like the
slow down,
that
yeah,
kind of chunky
slow
guitar.
down had
that was
it,
kind of like
Polecat
Saddle Creek sound, I guess.
Right.
I think Lullaby is often overlooked as like the first forerunner of the whole group of bands that end up making Saddle Creek.
I think Lullaby touring and being on another label and having a little better distribution and getting out there more definitely showed us a side of playing music that we were not exposed to at that point of, you know.
They changed the way that we saw possibilities for all of the bands.
It was difficult for me to get over the idea of all this personal like neurosis or whatever like that drives some of the songs, and then to like sell it in like a commercial format and like package up your, you know, your little nightmares and send them, you know, sell them for $10 at a show with like a T-shirt to go along with it.
It was sort of a I don't know, kind of a darker period for Connor, you know, like you can tell just from thematically, but
I could no longer live in like the bubble of like I'm writing these songs for myself and my friends. I just, after everything happened with that record, I knew that there was an audience and that somehow I'd have to come to terms with it, like for better or worse, you know.
Fevers and Mirrors definitely had like a youthful, something very youthful about it, you know, like a young man's problems, you know, like this teenager, early 20s dudes, and I think so many people identified that, but when it came to Lifted, the things he was talking about were like on such a deeper level, and like,
you know, you can hear it in almost every song that there's, you know, there's people, there's strangers that are, you know, have like the cup up to the door and are like listening in, you know, and like for the first time like being totally aware of that, and like, you know, it does affect the music, you know, and it you know, in an ideal world maybe it shouldn't, but it has to, you know. So the best I can do with it is just like, you know, accept it and try to carry on for the same reasons I always have been doing it. Like every a little advanced into like the creepy, now like crumbling music industry, just makes me so happy that we just have this like little thing and we can just like put out records to like people that are actually interested in music. And I guess I'm really proud of the fact that we haven't affiliated ourselves with any other larger company for the sake of like having a bigger marketing budget or having a just having more money. I've learned enough about the way it works with publicists and just these mainstream magazines, media, music magazines and otherwise, just mainstream publications. Like, it's just they're too lazy to really evaluate things completely on their own merit, so it's like all you really need is it's just the snowball effect of like one person writes one thing about you, and it's way easier for all these other places, and also they don't want to miss the boat on anything, and they don't want to be the last to like recognize something. So you have this sort of frenzy once like someone declares you something, whether whatever, Dylan or anything, like it's just like everyone scrambles to like write the same story basically, and then it seems like a way bigger deal than it ever was, and it's, I don't know, I kind of just been laughing my way through it all because it just seems so absurd to like, I don't know, a lot of what people say is absurd, so I think it's okay just to like let it slide.